Hello everyone. Glaciers store 75% of the world's freshwater, forming the largest freshwater reserves on the planet. These giant structures cover approximately 10% of the world. During the last ice age, around 32% of the Earth's total area was covered with glaciers. However, it is important to note that there are two types of glaciers: alpine glaciers, which form on mountain slopes and move slowly down valleys, and continental glaciers, which cover entire continents. Today, the largest glacier is the Lambert Glacier in Antarctica, which is approximately 100 kilometers wide, 400 kilometers long, and 2.5 kilometers deep. Greenland and Antarctica, on the other hand, house the world's largest ice sheets, making up more than 99% of the world's glaciers. So, what would happen if all these massive ice masses melted? Where would all this water go? What would happen to the oceans? Would saltwater mix with freshwater? In today's video, we will find answers to these questions together. It is estimated that the total volume of ice on our planet is roughly between 25 to 30 million cubic kilometers. Putting this amount into a more tangible frame is quite challenging, but to give a better understanding of the scale, if we gathered all the glaciers in one place, the resulting ice sheet would be larger than the entirety of North America. Now, let's consider a scenario where all this ice melts. Of course, this melting will not happen overnight, but the current data we are about to share will help you understand just how bad the situation is getting. In 2019, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change published a scientific report on the oceans and cryosphere, which created a huge impact worldwide. According to the study, even small glaciers could be almost as dense as the amount of ice in Greenland. For example, between 2006 and 2015, Greenland lost approximately 280 billion tons of ice annually, while glaciers in the rest of the world experienced a loss of 220 billion tons. Antarctica, during this entire period, lost only 155 billion tons of ice. On the other hand, recent years have seen the ocean's surface rise at an average rate of 3.6 millimeters per year. While this amount may not seem significant, climate-related changes accumulate slowly and can suddenly show their effects. Therefore, scientists predict that the rate of glacier melting is likely to increase and accelerate. NASA scientists have shared their projections that sea levels are inevitably expected to rise by 90 centimeters in the near future. Now, let's imagine a scenario where all the glaciers melt overnight. Scientists at the University of California have made predictions assuming this scenario will occur in the distant future. These researchers have calculated that if all the glaciers in Greenland melted, the sea level would rise by 7.4 meters. If Antarctica melted, this increase would reach 58 meters. Finally, taking into account the melting of all glaciers on the planet, the researchers calculated that the water level would rise by 65 meters. So, what would happen to the land masses? According to climate change models, coastal areas of all continents would inevitably be submerged, significantly altering the shapes of the continents. For example, Florida would disappear completely. The Netherlands, which has been battling rising water levels for the last 10 years, would lose the fight. The same would be true for Denmark. In fact, a large part of Northern Europe would face a similar fate. St. Petersburg would be submerged, Venice would sink, and the Caspian Sea, officially considered a lake, would become a real sea. The Black Sea would cover the Caucasus and connect to the ocean. In such a scenario, where all glaciers melted, the size of the Black Sea would almost double. On the other side of the world, in China, parts of the land would be submerged, resulting in major flooding across the country. The same situation would extend to Cambodia and Vietnam, where major disasters would occur. Moving on to South America, the Amazon River in Brazil would disappear due to the formation of a massive new bay, significantly altering the shape of the continent. Additionally, rivers in the lower part of the continent would merge into a bay, resulting in the disappearance of Buenos Aires and significant land loss across the continent. Compared to other continents, Africa is expected to lose the least amount of land. However, this is not good news because the rising sea levels will further increase air temperatures, making most parts of Africa uninhabitable. Additionally, in Egypt, Alexandria and Cairo will expand, succumbing to the waters of the Mediterranean. The melting of the glaciers will also create an inland sea in Australia, submerging many of the narrow coastal regions where Australians live. So, what can we say about Antarctica, where everything started? Contrary to some horrific scenarios, the continents will not become completely unrecognizable. If we were able to travel forward in time and look at the new map of the world, we could distinguish the main outlines of Australia, America, and Africa. However, when we look at the region where Antarctica is located, we would be confused. The main outlines of Antarctica are an illusion created by our current climate. Even when the ocean is at its current level, if we remove all the ice in Antarctica from the map and include only the land, we would see a visual composed of various sized islands. When the glaciers melt, there will be no land mass visible on the map. Another issue is what will happen to the plant cover and wildlife in the seawater. Almost all of the glaciers are of sedimentary origin, meaning they contain billions of tons of freshwater. Accordingly, it can be expected that all of the melted water will naturally dilute the salty waters of the ocean, thereby reducing its salinity. On the other hand, the reduction of salt will lead to a dramatic ecological disaster, resulting in the inevitable extinction of many species that have been present in the ocean for years. Such a disaster will completely disrupt the already fragile ecological balance. Plant and animal species will become extinct, and the populations of some life forms will suddenly increase dramatically, potentially starting a large-scale chain reaction in ocean and land ecosystems, resulting in global ecological disasters. On the other hand, the decrease in salinity in the ocean water will lead to an increase in the salinity of underground water. This is because the significant increase in ocean levels will push salty water into the depths of underground waters, creating more saline soil. This will make it difficult to irrigate fields and grow food products on agricultural lands. The decrease in salinity will also slow down, or even stop, currents. For example, the Gulf Stream around northern Europe will disappear, preventing the warm air carried by the current from reaching there. However, global warming will still warm the British Isles, so cold will not become a significant problem. Nevertheless, other serious consequences may arise. When talking about glaciers, one of the most important things to know is that these formations have not accumulated over thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, but over millions of years. Additionally, these ice masses have accumulated tons of toxins over the years due to volcanic eruptions and other disasters. When they melt, all these toxins will be released into the ocean and the atmosphere, causing unimaginable problems. Moreover, there are other dangerous substances stored in frozen soil. For example, scientists warn that glaciers contain dangerous chemical compounds, ancient viruses and bacteria, and even nuclear waste, all of which could lead to disasters. So, what will happen to the climate? The melting of the glaciers will naturally not prevent other disasters awaiting our planet. In other words, we will see all the scientific disaster scenarios described so far together. For instance, global warming negatively affects ecosystems as well as human health, livelihoods, food and water security, and economic growth. A scientific team consisting of anthropologists, ecologists, and climate change experts has conducted comprehensive modeling and research on global climate change, subsequently preparing a detailed report. This article, titled Future of the Human Climate Niche, and published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, garnered significant global attention. The study revealed quite alarming data. For instance, predictions indicate that regions with an annual average temperature above 29 degrees Celsius will experience an increase from 0.1% to 19% by 2070. It is worth noting that 29 degrees Celsius is the current global average temperature. This means that temperatures will rise not just in desert regions, but also in densely populated areas with the highest birth rates, including parts of South America, India, Africa, North Australia, and Southeast Asia, potentially rendering these regions uninhabitable. Even before the glaciers fully melt, other issues could arise, such as changes in the length of our days. While it may seem unrelated to the melting of glaciers, global warming could indeed affect the rotation of the Earth. Take the example of the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River in China. This dam has slowed the rotation of the planet by 0.06 microseconds. Although this is not a significant change, it's crucial to remember that we are talking about a whole planet. When glaciers melt, the redistribution of water from the poles to the equator could slow down the Earth's rotation, potentially lengthening our days by 10 to 20 seconds. However, these added seconds are not the primary concern. The bigger danger lies in the fact that approximately 40% of humanity today lives within 70 meters of sea level. As sea levels rise, coastal cities and entire islands will be submerged. Countries like the Netherlands and Japan could disappear entirely, prompting governments to invest billions of dollars to delay the inevitable flooding. Sooner or later, 40% of the population will have to leave coastal cities and move inland, resulting in overcrowded habitable areas and leading to population issues. The submersion of densely populated port cities like Calcutta and Shanghai will devastate not only the people but also the economy. Melting catastrophes will destroy port infrastructures, necessitating the reconstruction of all ports and significantly disrupting intercontinental trade. Additionally, the fishing industry could come to a complete halt. As previously mentioned, rising waters will encroach upon fertile land, significantly impacting agriculture and, consequently, the food sector. Despite these impending disasters, scientists suggest that the melting of glaciers and icebergs in the Arctic could have positive environmental and economic impacts. However, these benefits are minor consolations and will not compensate for the losses. The crucial point here is whether humanity can overcome these challenges. Many experts believe that by the year 2000, most of the Arctic waters will have melted, impacting sectors like maritime transportation soon. A new route between Northern Europe and Asian countries, 40% shorter than the Suez Canal route, will open through the Arctic Sea. Currently, this Arctic route is only accessible for short periods in the summer, led by icebreakers. Another sector to be affected is mining. The Arctic shelf is one of the most promising sources of hydrocarbon reserves. Even today, beneath the ice regions of Alaska, there are significant amounts of gas, oil, copper, and nickel. Additionally, mining in Antarctica and Greenland could uncover numerous mineral deposits, helping humanity compensate for the losses caused by climate change. After discussing all these disaster scenarios, we hope that humanity will invent and implement innovative technologies for clean energy to save our planet. By fulfilling our responsibilities towards nature, we can still change things for a better future. The only thing we need is the desire and determination for change. Stay well.